has given me uh, like a new lease on life, really.
I feel empowered. I feel like the Dimitri post diagnosis loves every inch of himself.
Ask your healthcare provider if Biktarvy is right for you, and visit Biktarvy.com to view the important facts, including important warnings.
Hello there, welcome to Plus Talk on Plus Life, where we're all about turning positive into a plus. Today, we're just talking about, well, what life is like with HIV. Joining me to have this conversation is Rishiraj, he's in London, and our friend Dorian makes his return to Plus Talk. Good to see you both.
Hello, hello.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you guys for doing this. You know, every now and then it's just good to have a kind of a chat really about what life is like with HIV for people who might stumble across this and, you know, have lots of questions or not be sure about things. So I'm just going to dive straight in. I'll start with you, Rishiraj. What has been the toughest part? What was the toughest part for you, you know, when it came to adjusting to your diagnosis? And how did life change for you when you started treatment?
I think for me, the toughest part might have been telling the people around me and the people close to me that I had HIV. I think just it's almost like coming out again, like coming out as gay and then coming out as HIV positive. It's two different shocks, especially with my parents when I had to do it when they didn't fully know that I was gay. So that kind of was quite interesting to do. But I think after medication, my life has reverted back to normal. It's been relatively the same. I don't think much has changed, except for me taking a pill every day and having to obviously tell my partners and tell people around me. But I would say it's mostly the same.
What about you, Dorian?
I agree. It's like the almost coming out again. I do think the one thing that is kind of different is that, and it could be just a me thing, is the the feeling of like, oh, we're gonna have a falling out from it. But more oftentimes than not, I'm getting people who are curious and they want to know more about like the disease. They want to know like about treatments. They want to know things. And you still get one person every blue moon who is like, oh, I'm okay, or they'll separate themselves from it. But for the majority of the time, a lot of it is more curiosity. So that's my like story. It's like a lot of people are just more like, oh, well, what is it? What can you give me more information?
It's so refreshing to hear that, because I think my experience, being a little bit older than you both, was very different in that there was, you know, we weren't talking about U equals U. PrEP wasn't something that was around back then. And so it was still very much, you know, the boogeyman and your life is over and, you know, it's horrific. You know, speaking of that, you know, we've come a long way in where we're at with how HIV is treated these days. What's been something that's, you know, sort of surprisingly positive that you guys have both learnt about modern treatment and living with HIV?
I know for myself, I just got a conversation. I jokingly, not with you, 2 days ago, got notified by my healthcare provider that we're switching me to a new kind of medication, a new medication that I can take an injectable shot once every 2 months, and I won't have to do a pill every single day. So that was very surprising for me, going from knowing that I would do a pill every single day to now being one injectable shot every 2 months is like, I was surprised and I was like blown away that that's where we're at now, that we're able to do.
Do you like that? I mean, is that because, I mean, I'm a pill a day guy and it doesn't bother me, but I do know for some people, taking a pill every day is tough, whether it's because they don't like taking pills, whether it's because it sort of is a daily reminder that they're living with HIV. What's your vibe on that now, you know, once every 2 month injectable?
Yeah, me personally, I don't mind it. I didn't mind taking the pill every single day. Luckily for me, it was not like a heavy burden for me. I'm just very forgetful. So for me, it's more beneficial for me to be compliant is the term they use for you, so that you're on your medication all the time. So this is just more for me to stay compliant, because if you don't take your pill every single day, you lose that chance and even have risks of making a non-reactive strain of HIV if you stop your medication and go back onto it. So this is just keeping me more compliant and really helping me out, make sure that I do keep my undetectable status and helping me just live my day-to-day a little less crazy, I should say.
Yeah, one last thing. What about you, Rishi? Like something that you've sort of really learned about how far we've come with HIV treatment and it's having a positive impact?
I mean, I think I would agree with, I would agree with you by saying that the injectable treatment that I would just say told about it is really useful, especially because my parents live in the UAE, and bringing in medication into the UAE that is for HIV is illegal. So it makes it very tough for me to adhere to my medication if I need to go home at any moment. So I've also considered switching to this sort of 2-month, 6-month injectable program where I can adhere to my medication and my status, but also being close to my family and being able to travel freely and not face any of that scrutiny. But that scrutiny itself is something that's been so surprising to me. Like, I didn't expect countries to not allow me to stay on my life-saving medication when I travel.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. I mean, that's a whole other. We've done an episode on travel with HIV, and we've also talked about criminalization laws. We could spend hours talking about that. How is living with HIV, impacted maybe your self-worth, or how you look at yourself, body image wise and confidence wise and sexuality wise? Did it have an impact on you? Did it knock you down a little bit? And if so, how have you both gotten over that? And when you look in the mirror now and look at who's staring back at you or in the bedroom, what's your confidence like?
When I first got diagnosed, it put me in a really bad headspace at first, being like, oh, well, I'm undesirable. No one's gonna want me. No one's gonna even come close to me. And like I said, what has been surprising is that people are more curious. So it has like changed up my view, but I guess my confidence level has changed more, and who I am as a person. I feel like that's what I really am more happy with now, not knowing that, hey, if someone does want to talk to me or meet me in the bedroom, they're there because they actually care about me, and not just because, oh, hey, they're worried about A, B, C, D, and they're there for like the right reasons, I guess you would say. So it's giving me confidence there. But outside the bedroom, I think it given me like a new lease on life. Really, I've seen myself like take more risks. I can say more like trying to do more things more often, being more like adventurous with my normal day to days. Just because I was like, hey, this was a big scare, a big like potential like, oh my gosh, and it has allowed me not to like squander things as much. So it's giving me a different form, I would say, of confidence, more of a internal, more of a what can I do to make myself feel good and make myself feel happy, and knowing that people around me are there for me and not because of looks or for something superficial. It's more of they're here
Right.
for me.
Yeah, Rishi, you were nodding vigorously there in agreement. Well, I think there's something to be said. I say this all the time: knowledge is power, right? And when we can, like, we have this knowledge and we can embrace what it is, and we can go, okay, this is the deal. I'm living with HIV. Here's what I need to do. Along with that, perhaps gives you some confidence. You're like, I'm taking charge of this. I'm in charge now, and that can be sexy, right?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think it's made me find people. I've been able to be successful in my relationships. I've been able to have a more successful sex life, and I've always enjoyed talking about, sexual health awareness in the first place. So I this has just brought a new light into the activism that I already thought I had a lot of passion for. So it's been very interesting to see how that's going for me.
On the flip side, I think HIV can be quite isolating for people too, and sort of something you said, Dorian, about that initial, well, no one's going to want me. People, stay away from me, and I know I felt that. I was in my head for 10 years. I'm damaged goods. How have you, if you've experienced that, how have both of you worked to kind of reshape that to make sure you don't just sort of isolate, that you get out there and that you're embracing who you are and you're embracing your sexuality and you're sort of going to Stigma?
Yeah. I know for myself, like it's something that I get reminded of. I think that's more of my remembrance of my status is that like first time I meet somebody, I already go into that thought process of like, hey, they're not gonna want me, they're not gonna want to talk to me, whatever. That's always my go-to, my crutch, I would say. And it's probably not the best go-to for it, but unfortunately that's my reality. But one thing I do have to do afterward, and it feels good to say in a way, that once I do get it off my chest, it's in that split second that I get that confirmation. Because again, people are so curious about it that I don't have to constantly be worrying like, oh, are they going to accept me? Are they going to do all these things? Are they going to not want to talk to me? That I get that reassurance that no, yeah, I want to get to know you, or yes, let's continue talking. So for me personally, I feel it often, and I have to constantly remind myself like things are different now. People are going to be more open to hearing things. People are going to want to know. People are more curious. So like I said, but that's just me. I always go to like they're not gonna want me. They're gonna leave me.
Well, but by the way, there's lots of factors that we could, and I'm going to move on just for time on this one, because I think social media is one of those areas in our lives where, because of what we see and how social media is presented these days, that can have a real negative impact too on our self-worth and how we feel about ourselves. But flip side of that, how has, because you both have shared your experiences on socials with your HIV, how has doing that helped sort of, influence your health and your identity, really embracing it out there in public life, Rishi?
I mean, I think for me, I was kind of always on social media even before my diagnosis, and the first started talking about it online. So I think it just kind of became an extension of my identity online, where I felt like I could extend from LGBT activism or LGBT lifestyle content into, HIV and talk about the struggles that come with that, or, the stories that come along with that. So I've just been able to meet new people and tell new stories online generally in the way to do.
Dorian?
For me, I agree. It's like it's interesting. I think you see both the beauty of everything. People, like I said, being curious, being wanting to know, and supporting you. I get comments on my videos saying that "Oh, stay strong. You're a strong individual. Thank you for sharing." But you do see some people who are still not the most open-minded, and you still get that. And I think we, as people with HIV, need to acknowledge the fact that there's some people out there, and we have to be careful and cautious where we put ourselves. But at the same time, we also have to know that just because there's one naysayer, you're gonna have 10 people right behind you saying, "Hey, thank you so much. You've inspired me. You've helped me out. You've given me information on life." So I think it's that duality of knowing that not everybody's gonna be on our side, but for everyone, you have 10 who said yes.
Yeah, and look, sharing your story and being so public about it, especially HIV, it takes courage. So if there's one part of your story or one part of your journey, and this is for both of you, and I'll start with you again, Rishi, what's the one part of your story that you hope people can draw inspiration from what you've gone through so far?
I feel like what people should take away from my story is just keep on to reiterate with my story that HIV is not a death sentence, and HIV does not change your life in the way people think it does. And it's not this large traumatic event, at least not for me. Because for many people it can be, but I think it'll play per century. It's changing so fast where now it doesn't feel like it's that big part of my identity anymore. Yeah, that's I think the main takeaway.
What about you, Dorian?
Yeah, I think my thing I always go back to is that if I tell someone my story, or if they see my video online, or they just meet me in person, is that they feel a sense of worth, that they are still a person, and they still are going to be loved, and they're still going to be wanted, and they're going to know that someone's going to be out there. They just have to find it and find their tribe, their family, their person, if that's what they're looking for, wanting, or needing, and just to never forget that they're wanted and they're needed and that they have value.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gentlemen, this has been a pleasure. Thanks for making the time. Rishi and Dorian, good to see you. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having us.
Thank you. We will put Rishi and Dorian's socials up so you can follow them and check them out and the great work that they do on TikTok and their other platforms. That is going to do it for this episode of Plus Talk. Until next time, try and be nice to one another. And remember, you can like, follow, and share Plus Life Media across all social platforms, and visit the website pluslifemedia.com. Until next time, bye-bye.